Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
My name is Vickie Maris.
I'm Scott Greeson.
So I want to tell you a little story about my mom.
Please.
I just have thought of this. Scott and
I don't know what she's going to say.
Yeah, I'm going to surprise him. Scott and I have been practicing adding quiet time. It's like being silent in the day, adding meditation.
Which, for those of you who know me, know that's a miracle within itself.
It is. We've started out with small amounts of time, because believe me, like if you think about doing meditation or just simply being silent and listening to the day, if you're not used to doing that, it can be a little daunting, the thought of it. So start just small amounts of time. Well, so we add that to our prayer life.
Yeah.
We usually start with meditation, and then we'll wrap it up with thoughts of gratefulness about things in the day that we're grateful for, and prayer. And I thought, that's a subject I've never talked to my mom about, whether or not she meditates. I'd never heard her or my dad talk about that.
And whether you call it meditation or silent time, whatever it is, it's interesting to hear what your mom said.
Yeah, and I know she has a strong prayer life. Mm-hmm. She's a very strong Christian, and that's been a part of her life since she was a little girl. So I asked her about it about a week ago. I was telling her about a video that we had watched and how much Scott and I are getting out of just spending time in silence and listening. And I said, "Mom, do you ever meditate?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "You do?" And she said, "Yeah, especially a lot since I've moved over here to the retirement community, because there's a lot of time when I'm sitting in my apartment." And I said, "Well, when do you meditate?" She says, "I usually meditate in the evening, right before I'm falling asleep. I lay down in my bed and I start to meditate." And I said, "Do you ever have trouble with like thoughts attacking you and coming in and trying to get you off track in your meditation?" She goes, "All the time." She goes, "You know what I do?" And I said, "What? What do you do? Give me a tool." She goes, "When I lay down, I picture this, that my thoughts are going to be in this space right here. And I'm going to try to focus on my breath. And if a thought gets in there that I don't want to be paying attention to in that moment," she goes, "I just squeeze the space down."
And she's 97 years old, soon to be 98, and she's got that figured out, and she's been doing it a long time. Silent time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And how many of us take time to do that? I know I don't. I hadn't until about Christmas time. That's when I started trying to spend some silent time part of my prayer life. I just like, wow, this is interesting. And then we find out after 90, we've known her for a long time. She's known her all your life.
I've known her my whole life.
That's interesting. Seeing it's your mom. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that, actually. But she just tells us, "Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. I just spent some silent time." Hi,
Yeah.
Cheryl. How are you?
Cheryl. It's so amazing what, like, the bigger ideas, the bigger life ideas that come to you. We recently stumbled across a guy that's got a YouTube channel. His name is Ed Mylett. If you have not had a chance to watch any of his videos, he also has a podcast if you'd rather listen via audio. His hashtag is Max Out, and he teaches you how to max out your life. But on his YouTube channel, he interviews people that are really well known in their various areas of expertise. And we ran across in one of his videos a guy named Kyle Cease.
Oh, yeah. Kyle's very interesting.
Oh, my
goodness.
And
funny. And
he's
entertaining. And
a retired comedian.
Yeah.
He decided to change his life he was really successful as a comedian. And then...
Good morning, Kevin Ludwig. We just mentioned you. You missed the mention.
Yeah, I've lost track.
Kyle Cease. Together we make one mind, and that's important.
If you have... Actually, we'll put the link to that particular video down in the comments later, because if you have... It was about 50 minutes long, maybe. So if you have opportunity to watch it, he talks about all kinds of things, but a lot about loving every part of yourself. So if you have like a moment of feeling depressed or you've got a knot in your stomach, Kyle says, just love that. Like, go, I don't know where that's coming from right now, but I love that right now. I'm stepping into it. I'm leaning into it. I love it. And that was one of the things I remember from that video.
Yeah. What's the guy this morning that Ed was interviewed?
Oh, yeah.
It was really good.
The latest...
it's the latest he didn't do it this morning.
Yeah, but the latest video on the Ed Mylett channel, that's Mylett, he interviewed a psychiatrist named Dr. Amen, A-M-E-N. We'll put a link to that down in the comments for you too.
Hi, Stu Jones. Good morning.
Great. Thank you.
Go get your coffee, folks.
for joining the chat. He was super interesting as well. And he talks about brain health. And he really does not like the term mental illness. And he was written a book that's apparently on pre-order right now. So if you are interested in that topic. But he talks about how if we can get our brain health right, that a lot of the things that our society does label as mental illness, we could help a lot of those things. Mm-hmm. So I learned a bunch of stuff from him this morning. I'm like feeling so much wonderful energy.
Love.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? Scott and I go back through and we look at your comments. We try to respond to everything, but we also pray for you. And we're so appreciative that you're here. I had Scott contribute one of the sections in my book. Now, the book is about journaling, and they're short stories and prompts to get you going on your journaling practice.
Yeah.
But you shared one of your songwriting exercises as one of the days
Sure.
of prompts.
And maybe we can do a couple of those prompts later in the week or something.
Yeah. We could share them right here. Yeah, that's cool.
Share 'em. Hey, folks, call somebody you haven't talked to for a while today.
So
name of the book.
Name of the book is Changing Life After a Life-Changing Event, 30 Journal Prompts and Stories to Help After a Loss.
Yeah, and it really is awesome in that it's any loss, not just loss of grief from the loss of a loved one. It's loss of anything.
I use several different examples. So loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of a loved one, several different examples. And I'm hoping that the little short stories will help plant some seeds of ideas of how to get the thoughts out of your head and onto the paper.
You know, Vickie, I see you.
Thank you. Everyone, we're so appreciative of you. We want to remind you, take some deep breaths today and all throughout the week. They are so healing and good for you. Spend some time with the silence. Watch that Kyle Cease video that we'll put the link down below, and also the one that we just watched this morning that was Ed Mylett interviewing Dr. Amen, the psychiatrist. It was terrific.
Yeah.
We'll put all that in the comments so you can have it as a resource. And we would love for you to share the broadcast out with a friend.
Please do. I do want to make a suggestion. This is my own survival mechanism right now. I'm watching enough news to stay informed, but I'm not being obsessive over it. I'd rather hang out with people that I love. Stay informed, but at the same time, it can drive you crazy if you spend too much time watching TV. But the important things, lift those folks up that maybe are not feeling well right now, please.
Everybody, we
Cheers.
love you.